Hi, everybody. Welcome to Training Talk here on Personal Defense Network. Yes, it's that time of the week again. It's 6 p.m. on Thursday, in this particular case, the second Thursday of September. And so, welcome. This is the show where we talk about you, about your life, and how to protect it. In the next hour, we're going to talk how you can train and prepare yourself to face that worst case scenario and keep you and your family safe from harm. That's what we do here. What we don't do here is we don't do politics or religion. So you're not going to hear any strange sort of fringe commentary or conspiracy theories or anything, fake news or any of that kind of stuff. Just reliable information that you can use to keep yourself and your family safe. And hey, if you like this show, and I hope that you like this show, if you like what we're doing here at Personal Defense Network, would you do us a favor, the honor actually of sharing this show with your friends and your family and your coworkers and your relatives and your neighbors and all the people on social media? Get on the Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and share this with your friends. So that they can get the same kind of great information that you'll be getting as we go through the show tonight. So I'd appreciate it if you would do that. And you know something, I'll bet you they'll appreciate it too. You thought enough of them to clue them in on this stuff. Yeah, that's the way it works. People helping people. All right. Well, welcome back. If you're a regular viewer, welcome back. I do appreciate you coming back and sharing your time with us. And if you're a new viewer, welcome. I hope you enjoy the show and you get something out of it, and that we can help you help educate you a little bit and give you some ideas of what you can do in your own life to keep yourself safe. And I hope that you come back next time for the next show. So I'm kind of bundled up tonight because it's getting to be a little cold. Summer's, well, I won't say summer's over in Oregon, but we've had now a few days of very cold temperatures. I think our high today was like 50 degrees, very cold, wet, rainy, all that kind of thing. So we're getting ready for fall and winter here. If you've been following in the news, the forest fires, and I think I talked about these last time because there was a lot of smoke in the air and I was coughing. The copious amounts of rain that we're getting is really starting to put those out. So here in the Pacific Northwest, our forest fires will soon be history. Not soon enough, but soon. So, and it's almost being fall. It's almost time to get my twice yearly haircut. That's right. You people can stop sending me the emails about my hair, Mom. And no, my mom doesn't watch this show. She doesn't have a computer. But yeah, I get my hair cut twice a year. So you can very soon now stop complaining. Stop complaining about that. I think I look rather good myself. Anyway, tonight's show, we've got a really interesting show coming up. But before we get to my guest tonight, I want to talk about, as I usually do, about an interesting news story that came in that has some implications for self-defense. And this happened in Victoria, Virginia. And it seems that there was a convenience store clerk, and this happened back, I guess, in June, but they finally got resolution on this, and you'll understand why after I tell you the story. But convenience store clerk was working, and a man came in with a gun, with a handgun, and demanded cash out of the cash register. And he was apparently pocketing the cash or something, and turned around as though he's going to leave, and decided, well, he wanted the cash out of the lottery cash register. I guess they've got a separate cash register for lottery. So the clerk gives him the money out of the lottery cash register. And then he turns like he's going to leave and decides that he wants a pack of cigarettes too. And so gives him those. And apparently finally satisfied, he turns around and goes out the door. The clerk grabbed what is described as a .380 handgun that they keep by the register, and went to the front door, supposedly hoping to see which direction the robber went so he could tell police. And he apparently opens the door, and the robber's 15 or 20 feet out in the parking lot, apparently dropped some of his money and was picking it up. And So he opens the door, sees a robber out there, and inexplicably, the clerk decides to fire a round into the air, a warning shot into the air, which he does. And the robber was apparently completely unimpressed with this display and turns around and starts shooting at the clerk. The clerk returned fire and ends up killing the robber. There are a lot of things going on here, and if you think about it, if you've had hopefully some, excuse me, that was awful. Hopefully had at least a passing familiarity with the legalities and the judicious use of lethal force. You'll see some of the things that are going on here, and it took quite a while for this to work its way through the public prosecutor's office and all that sort of thing before they decided that they were not going to bring charges against the clerk. So there are a couple of things that we can learn from this. And the first one, and I've talked about this before, and some of my guests have talked about this before as well. Once whatever incident you are in is over, it's over, and don't do anything to rekindle or to start a new incident just because something happened. In this particular case, he went to the door and opened the door to see where the robber was. And that's sort of okay. I think he could probably look out the window. But if you're going to go to the door and you've just had a robbery and it says in the story that he was worried about the robber coming back, how about just locking the door? That keeps the robber out. So just go to the door, lock it, get on the phone, call 911, and tell them what you need to tell. So he didn't do that. That's probably one of the things that would go through my mind. If I'm scared about the guy coming back, I'm going to make it very, very difficult for him to come back by locking the door. We see this a lot in residential burglaries too, where people will open the door because they want to make sure the guy has left when they could have probably just as easily locked the door. The second thing is the firing of the warning shot, which apparently is an attempt to, I guess, convince the burglar to run, or the robber in this particular case to run. I'm not entirely sure why someone would fire a warning shot. In this particular case, all it did is embolden the robber to fire back at the clerk. From a practical standpoint, of course, we've talked about warning shots quite a bit and how the vast majority of the time, even if things turn out all right, they're just generally never a good idea. There are too many things that can go wrong. And realistically, if you're not justified in shooting at the person, you're probably not justified in shooting at all. And in fact, in a lot of jurisdictions, that's very much how it's interpreted. In this particular case, the warning shot, I think, in my opinion, simply told the robber that this guy isn't serious about shooting him. And if someone is, say, inexperienced enough or not knowledgeable to the point that they would actually waste a round in a warning shot, that's probably an indication that they're really not prepared to defend themselves. And in this particular case, the robber decided to um, probably be the bigger guy and shoot back at him. Well, I can do that too. If you want to shoot at me, I can shoot at you. And thereby essentially forcing the clerk to return fire and ended up killing the robber. Lots of things going on here. Self-defense cases, particularly when we're talking about lethal force, are very often not really all that cut and dry. We talk a lot about the justification for using lethal force. And one of the things I hear very often is, well, if it's a clean shoot, I'm okay. Well, always remember that somebody has to judge it to be a clean shoot. In this particular case, it took several months for the prosecutor to look at all the evidence and look at all these little pieces that went together, these little things that each of the parties did to sort of prolong this incident, and finally decide that they were not going to charge the store clerk. It could have turned out very differently. And we talk about the use of lethal force, and sometimes I think we talk about it without really going into the issues with lethal force, the issues with the inappropriate use of lethal force. I think a warning shot is virtually always an appropriate use of lethal force. Let's get that out there right away. I think also in terms of prolonging the incident or doing things that might escalate the incident or might uh, continue the incident, be very careful. And like I said, in this particular case, maybe it would have been better for the clerk to lock the door and then call police so that the guy couldn't come in if he was truly worried about the guy coming back. Lots of pieces here, lots of little things that happened in this particular case that, again, the prosecutors could have decided either way, and it's obvious that they had trouble deciding because it took them several months to get to just.
Hmm. The heck?
Hello? Test, test, test. Okay. I seem to have lost Julie. Let's see if we can get her back. Let me see here. I don't know what happened there. All of a sudden, let's see here. Mm, this again here. All right, let's try this again. My apologies. For some reason, all of a sudden, the Google Hangouts app was giving me an error message, and I'm not sure what that is. We'll see if we can. Oh,